Today I will take a look at Ranty. Now he has a new explanation to why boats disappear over the horizon. Water bends. This is going to be exciting. Let's get started.
Okay, so I went down to Walney Lighthouse during the daytime to do an observation. And to cut a long story short, let's open this one up. This was the results. So the distance this time, was 10.5 miles. So from the same spot essentially, but at a much higher altitude, I think it was closer to 60 feet, the bottom image is a pretty clear representation over 10.5 miles of what we saw. So basically we have the lighthouse. Let me zoom in so that you can see this. So basically we have the lighthouse, we have a sand dune around about here which can be seen, and then we have a little bit of sand on the shoreline. So the different colours tell you which is which. You know, obviously you've got the darker area which is the sand dune, and then you've got the sand on the shore basically. So it's not an elevation, it's more on the ground, this stuff. That's at elevation because that's the sand dune. And there's the lighthouse, and behind the lighthouse obviously we have the house that's part of the lighthouse, and you know, you can't see it, you're never able to see it from Blackpool because it's behind the sand dune. Pretty obvious, pretty obvious. Right, so that was from 60 feet, and this was from 3.5 feet. Almost the same. You've got the lighthouse, you've got the sandbank, and you've got the sand, the floor basically, you know, where the water would fill up to the top of that. So I think the tide height was about 3.5 meters or something like that at the time. So, you know, a pretty good shore-to-shore observation. Of course, the Globies don't like this. They don't like these kind of tests.
Why should we not like this? You're an expert in proving that the Earth is not flat. What you are showing here is what you would expect to see on a globe.
Now the nighttime stuff is far more interesting. So,
Exciting, Ranty. Do you have even better evidence for the globe Earth?
Let me show you where I was now. I've put a little pin here. What we have, if we look over, this is in Blackpool, so we have the Metropole Hotel, which is here. Then we have the cenotaph. This object here is the cenotaph. There's the Metropole Hotel. Here we have some steps. You know, you can see the seawall. You've got some steps going up there. You've got some steps going up there. Now, I was actually on this little ramp. It's more of a little ramp right down at the bottom. You see the different coloured sand actually. It's quite a good representation actually. The coloured sand is pretty much where the water was, and I was right next to it here. We had a fisherman that was fishing off the side of the seawall here, off this ramp. So he was fishing there. Anyway, so if we turn around, I'll show you some other things. We've got the pier. So here's the family pier, and I actually filmed this in some of the videos, so you'll see that. So basically, this is my location, and wow, I've got some interesting stuff to share. Right, let's do some calculations first and foremost. Let's have a look how far it is to Walney Lighthouse. Okay, because, you know, I mean, this lighthouse, it's only got a focal height of 69 feet, you know. And this was at high tide. I actually went at high tide this time. So I'm at night time trying to film Walney Lighthouse at high tide, which is down here. And the distance is 16.53 miles.
1 minute and 40 seconds to describe where you are, what you are photographing, and the distance. This will be a very long video if you don't hurry up.
So go to Metabunk's Earth Curve Calculator. So here we go. So I do some different elevation heights. Basically, I'm going to show you some video footage in a minute where I'm down at just 3 feet. So the distance was 16.53 miles and the view height was 3 feet. So, if we look at the geometric globe, no refraction at all. The geometric drop is 182 feet. The geometric hidden would be 138 feet. And if we use some refraction, the refracted hidden, this is with refraction, will be 116 feet or thereabouts. Bearing in mind, the focal height of this is only 69 feet.
3 feet measured from what? I will come back to this later.
Well, we just saw the flash of it. Let me there we go. And my elevation right now is just 4 feet. Because I'm down on my knees, I'm holding it on my knee right now.
A flash every 15 seconds. Looks like the right lighthouse, Ranty.
So, when I'm filming in these conditions, when it's either flat or very little change, so minus 0.1 of a meter over 20 minutes, a slow withdrawal of the ocean. As soon as that ocean started picking up in speed and dropping quicker and receding faster, then we encountered blockage. Would you, Adam and Eve? That's when we encountered the blockage. And I had to go up to 30 feet during this time. I had to go at 22:04, I had to go to 30 feet elevation to see the lighthouse. When I went back to just an hour before, when the tide had only just started to turn, we was able to see shore to shore and see that lighthouse flashing that should have been 50 feet behind the curve. Right? I think that's vindication at least. There was hardly any change in the air temperature versus the sea temperature, so that couldn't have been a contributing factor. There was no swell on the day, right? There was no swell, there was no wind either. There was no wind, no swell, no temperature change. The only thing that changed and created blockage was the speed that the tide went out in these times.
So the tide bends the water, Ranty. Otherwise I can't understand how it would be in the way for you seeing the lighthouse. I think we have to look at it a bit closer and more serious than you have. This is Volny Lighthouse. It's 24 meters or 79 feet high, and the focal height is 21 meters or 69 foot. Focal height means the center of the lamp in the lighthouse, and it's measured over mean height water spring, which is the highest level that the spring tide reaches on the average over a period, often 19 years. When the lighthouse flashes at night, the whole window will be bright. If you look at the pictures, you see how low the actual lamp is. So the height of the light you see is higher than that's described in the description of the lighthouse. The mean high water spring for Blackpool is 4 meters and 93 centimeters. Let's have a look again on your numbers. You had a tide between 6.7 to 5.8 meters. So you were all the time higher than the mean height water spring, from 1.8 meters to 90 centimeters. This you have to calculate with when you do these calculations. So you were higher up in relations to the focal height of the lighthouse than you believed you were. And if you add the fact that the windows are higher than the given value, it's no problem to see the light from the lighthouse on that distance. Okay, all. This was a very short one. I hadn't planned for one more lighthouse video this week, but I couldn't resist when I saw this one. Thanks for this time. See you soon. Bye.